and hold on, I have my notes. Okay. Oh boy. Okay. Hello. I feel. Can I just like walk around a little bit? Is that fine? I mean, I like pace. I love to pace. Sorry, I'm taking too long. But can I just like yell at you? Do I need the microphone? It's a little bit. Okay, is this fine? Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Somewhat. Goodbye. Somewhat. Okay, I'll be loud. Okay. I feel very strange. I've been making games for my whole life. I'm a game designer. I've made literally hundreds of games, and I recently have had this like weird like feeling welling up inside of me, and it's gonna sound crazy, and everyone I can tell it to is like, what the fuck are you talking about? I hope it's okay if I swear. I wanna kill gameplay. So when I tell people this, they're like, what are you talking about? And I keep trying to explain it. I still don't feel like I've fully grasped it, but I keep trying. So here I am again trying to describe what it is, like kind of like what does it mean to kill gameplay? I'm not trying to define gameplay, but there's like it's like the verb and the noun, they come together, kill gameplay. So I don't exactly know where it started, but I was talking to a friend of mine about procedural levels. I think lots of people know what that means, procedurally generated levels. And I feel like it was sort of when they started like getting big with Spelunky. It was around that time, a little bit after Spelunky was big. And I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was like, the levels in a procedurally generated game, I was like, where's the person in those levels? I really like designing levels, it's really fun. And I understand that the procedurally generated levels of Spelunky, they serve a function, but like they don't have an expressive function. And I started, and this was like before Gen AI was a thing, and I thought, there was something weird about it. I'm like, as a player, I'm like pushing a button and it spits out a level, and I play the level, and I'm like, but where's the human on the other side? Like, who am I, just whose output am I doing? And I was talking to a friend of mine who was like, oh, I was telling him, he thought I was crazy. He said, I told him a procedurally generated level is like a really bad level editor. It's like, you're giving the player like the worst level editor ever, but it's also kind of good, because like they don't have to do anything. They press a button, they get a level, but there's no expression on their part. There's no intention. They can't intentionally make any decisions. They press a button, they just get some kind of garbagey level that the designer didn't do anything with. And I didn't like that. I was bothered by it. Then years later, I was making a platformer called Awake. It's very small. I was thinking about when I'm going to bed, I have to turn off the light. The light switch is here, my bed's there. I just sort of memorize the space, and I turn off the light, and I'm like, it's dark, I can't see anything, and I still have to make my way to bed. So it's a little platformer. You jump around, there's a light switch, and then it's all black, and you just have to make a few jumps. It's a very small number of jumps, but it's impossible. It's very hard. And I made this game. It was one level, it was one nice level, and I showed it to some people, and one person said, hey, like, I like that game. I want a level 2. And I was just like, I'm like, no, there's no level 2. Because the second level would just be the same thing. It would just be regurgitated. I'm like, I could do it, right? But it's not necessary. It wasn't necessary at all. And it would have been, like gameplay for the sake of gameplay. To bring it back to like killed gameplay. So I have made games with procedural generation and like lots of, the gameplay for the sake of gameplay levels. I made a game over a decade ago called Starseed Pilgrim, and it asks a lot of the player. It has procedurally generated levels, but it also just, you're playing the game and you fail and you fail and you fail, which also is part of gameplay, which is also part of what I want to kill. I'm like, why do you have to fail in games? Just why? Like, we put it in there, but why? And Starseed Pilgrim, I'm not saying I'm innocent or anything. I mean, that's part of it. I've experienced this. Like, it's very fun to make something that someone is like, they get mad at it. It makes them fail, and this failing, like, it draws them in, and they go, I'm gonna do better. Like, it's addictive, and you do it to yourself too, or I do it to myself. I assume that a lot of you in this room have experienced this. Of like, I'll make a system, and I'll engage with the system, and I'll fail, and I'm like, I want to do better. And I think that's all bad. But I understand it, and I did it for years, decades. So Starseed Pilgrim. Let's see. I'll find my way. We have like there's a part in that game that's really hard. It shows you like, here's this insane impossible task. And a lot of people, they encountered that task and they told me, they're like, yeah, when I saw that, I was like, I'm out. I'm not going to do that. And I was never offended or anything. But like, I look back on that and I'm like, good for them. Like they saw that and I told them like, here, hey, I want you to do this. And they're like, no, it's not going to happen. And we make these interactive objects, and I can see how making an interactive object like leads to this, but it's like I'm quite bothered by how much that interaction is often sacrifice. It's like, how much are you willing to plead, and not even like in an interesting, creative way. It's just like, yeah, just like how, like, can you press this button like 1,000 times? And I don't know, like, I understand that whole thing, but it feels like there's something wrong with it. So, how much time do I have left? Is there a time? All right, I'll just keep going.
You've been talking for 6 minutes. You got 10 more minutes.
Okay. Oh, sweet. Perfect. Hell yeah. Good. I'm on time. On my little paragraphs in my notes, I wrote a number so that I'm in a section that says 10 minutes left. So I'm good.
But you just spent like 15 seconds.
You fool!
My partner's playing this Neopets Candy Crush called Fairy Fragments, and I mean, like, you might not know about that game, you know, Candy Crush, and like she's done, because once you get to level 500, you get the birthday Cadoti, and then she's like, I'm out. I don't need it. It was just for that one item. Also, she's just gonna sell it for me when she doesn't care. But in the interim, you know, playing these 500 levels, like, she's playing this game, she goes to sleep before I do, and like, to help her sleep, like, I lie in bed next to her and I'm playing it, and she's like watching me play it, and she's like, it's just nice to know that you're there playing this thing. And I mean, this is gameplay, but I'm like, I'm doing this, like, I know it's bullshit. I know none of it matters, but I'm doing it because it's something she cares about, and in her caring about it, I care about it, and it's this like thing that we're doing together, and that's kind of nice. And I talk with people who played like Balatro, and like the way they talk about it is like you can see her face, you're like, I've played that game. And it's like, there's a couple of friends of mine. One of them is into like Genshin Impact, and she does you put the money in and you get like a random, I don't know, story or character. And she was like, wow, I got really into Balatro, and it was terrible because, you know, my weekend is gone, like just all that time vanished, gone. And like, people talk about this like it's like okay, and like sometimes like it's kind of funny, and I'm like, why are we accepting this? This is insane. So I played Balatro, the demo, and I felt like the players who were looking at my game, and I was like, I'm not fucking doing that. I'm not interested. I'm out. Which was like, cool, good for them, good for me. So I'm talking about this, and like I'm passionate about this because I'm passionate about this medium, right? This interactive medium, and I can see that this like this thing that I call sacrifice, like it's like in so many of these interactive games. And I just want to say, like, I think Dressifer is like, I really like it because it's like let's do something together. It's not like and especially the idea of like, what do you think? Let's see, I'm gonna it's just nice. Like, I think one of the things that I've arrived at in this sort of like, I don't know, like when I started seeing kill gameplay, it was nice because it drew me out of kind of my doubts. Like, I had these feelings of like, is it okay for me to ask so much of a player? But it was hard to face because it's so ingrained in like all that I know games to be about. It just like games like ask you to sacrifice, to do things, and I think it's kind of tapping into like this is like I don't know, maybe a sad conspiracy theory type thing, but I feel like people maybe, and I don't know if this is like modern age or if this has always been the case, it's human nature type of thing. Like, people want a sense of purpose. They want to do things that mean something. I can see a bunch of you nodding. It's just like, and I feel like games tap into that in a way that I don't think is always positive. Like, I think that relationship can be gross. Are you like?
just want to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yell at me.
I think, you know, like they're not raw, because there's a lot of games now, they call it like, now we need specific, they design games to be specifically gatekeeping now, in order to extract more money out of it.
And there's like the whales, and they went through the whole thing.
But alternatively, like we've always had things like Sudoku or crosswords, just stuff to keep the brain active. So I think when you're designing games, you just kind of have to decide: am I making a game point to express something? Like, if you can.
Do you think Sudoku expresses something though?
No, it's just to keep you active.
And I don't like it. I'm like,
But
it doesn't mean, I don't know, like I feel like it's busy work.
But a process or a thing, an activity to do to keep your brain active is not. I mean, I think that's an inherently neutral thing.
I disagree, but that's fine. That's less. I appreciate and respect your opinion, and I know where you're coming from because I feel, I feel like notes of like one thing and another on different days.
Just to finish, I think it's an inherently neutral thing.
Yep.
Like when you're doing it to keep people in an old age home, their brains active. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
When you're doing it to extract all this stuff and money out of people, obviously.
But I feel like let's say my. All right, I'll diverge from my script. This is a pretty loose script anyway. My grandfather, his memory is like going a little bit. He's still like pretty with it, but like a little bit. And he and my grandmother are thinking of moving into a home, and they'll probably be in there before the end of the year. And I'm just like, there's a friend of mine who he works at a place called Pino's Palette, and what he does, he stands in the front of a room and he's like, we're gonna paint this painting, and then everyone paints the painting. And at the end of the day, everyone is like, I've painted the painting and I've learned how to like paint a little bit, which is nice. Like, I think that that's something that they can take into their lives. And I've seen these like old folks' homes games, and they're, I don't know, like, do you have one on mind that you can just like yell at me because I don't remember any specific?
I mostly just thinking about Sudoku.
Sure, yeah. And like, let's say you get good at Sudoku. What the fuck do you do with that? Right? Like, just learn to paint. Just get someone to tell you, like, hey, like, you can express yourself in paint Sudoku. It makes you feel smarter, but it doesn't make you smarter. It creates the illusion of purpose. It creates the illusion of something. It's a made-up skill. Yes! No, I'm a scientist. I don't know anything.
Learn to knit.
Should have given the scientist this thing at the start.
Seems like a scientist.
I mean, he was talking to such
And I'm not judging anyone I'm not judging anyone on an individual basis. I think people should do what makes them happy. I'm not looking at one person who plays Sudoku. I'm looking at like an entire art form of people making games, thinking that what they're doing has purpose. I'm looking at all of you as like a mass. Like, I don't know half of you. And I'm not talking to any individual one of you. I'm not being like, hey, fuck you, you're making a spaceship game. Like, make a spaceship game. Make a game where you but I've been making, what am I? I'm like 33 now. When I was 4, I made some I learned to like do level editor. So I've been making games for like 30 years. I've been thinking about it way too much. And also like I'm truly a fool. Like I have not even had that much experience of like having a full-time job, which is partially a privilege, but partially I'm like, it would be great to just be able to receive income. But like those 30 years are like I've been doing nothing but making games. And so arriving here at this like Kill Gameplay spot is very weird and identity destroying. I feel like I lost my thread here. I'm gonna find it. What's going on? How much time do I have left? I got
Well, technically.
It's fine. I'll just keep yelling. What was the last thing that someone said to me? Or everyone was like, all like buzzing.
Just talking about how it's kind of value neutral. Like, you could say it's a skill, like your thing is a skill.
Yeah.
But it's not going to engage the same part of your brain as like the math part of stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I'm not saying, like, maybe Sudoku teaches, but I'm like, I feel like you could just do math. Also, math is a little bit fake. I love math. What do you got?
What's math?
All my weird and this is to me, this is the value of like letting myself like truly like believe and say something as needlessly contrarian as kill gameplay. It's sort of like how it shakes me loose. It lets me go, oh, okay, here's this like dumb stuff that I believe, and it just comes out, which is nice. It's nice. Okay, so just I'll bring it back to track a little bit. The kill gameplay thing, what has like it's led to me kind of like branching out a little bit and not thinking so hard about it would be nice to like hang out with my friends. How do I make a game that lets me hang? Like just hang out with your friends. I'm collaborating with a friend of mine, Maddi, who's there filming me to show people. Hello, people who'll be watching this movie. We're making a visual novel, and it's great. And she's a professional screenplay writer, and we're having a blast.
We
writing shit together, like good shit. Sorry, I don't mean do shit like stuff. Good stuff, and it's really fun. I made a journaling game, which was sort of like an attempt to. There's like when you play an arcade game and you do right, you do wrong, gives you points, or it says like. And this journaling game is I don't really play that many journaling. I play tabletop role-playing games, but in this case, I just wanted a single-player thing. It instructs you to do some stuff. You write down like a list of things that are important to you, and then it's like, hey, like one of them is lost in the ocean. Tell the story of its washing away, whatever. And then it just goes on to the next page, asks you to do something else. And what I like about this structure, like it's interactive, it's sort of like a game, it's sort of something, but it's not like the game isn't judging you. It leaves like a void of silence for you to judge yourself, which isn't like it's not like everything has to be like you judging yourself. I think people, I don't know, I don't want to say people judging other people, but there's like a kind of like it creates this like space for acceptance. If you've ever had like a really good tabletop role-playing group where like improv is like it's like yes and is like there's like this like really great feeling. Also, for everyone who likes tabletop role-playing games, I hate combat. Pure gameplay, terrible. You like rolling dice, you're wrong.
Too much math.
Just hang with your friends and tell like a sweet story and be like, your character's awesome. I hate it when it's like, oh, your character's awesome, except when you roll a 1. Or like you try to, I don't know, climb a fence and you don't have good athletics, and it's like, oh, you just can't. I don't know. Like, I mean, like I get it, but it doesn't have to be consistent doing it. That's gameplay, and it's bad. Kill it. That's my bit. What you say? What if it's not Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah.
I mean, like you can call the skills whatever you want. You can call them like hot and cool. You can call them weather-wise. I don't know. Rolling dice and it's not like I'm against rant. Anyway, that's my little side rant. I'll wrap it up. I'm sorry. I think the last thing I will wrap it up. Sorry. The last thing is I became really interested in art therapy as like a thing. There's like this like I think that a lot of people that I knew and who made games really wanted to know like how can we prove that games are art? How can we do that? And it was all like, oh, like are games in museums and can games make you cry? Those were the two big ones. And people were like, no, these are both dumb. But I never found a really compelling like thing except for sort of like let's just like assume that they're art and move on with their lives, which is totally fine. I think that's sort of what happened and everyone was fine with it. But I went to like therapy and then I realized that there was art therapy and I was like, wait, like is making games therapeutic? And is that what I think is like the real meaning of art? I'm going to a therapist now. She's an art therapist and she has got like her office is kind of like this and there's like a little table. What is that?
Play Zelda and be healed.
Play Zelda? No! Make Zelda and be healed. She has a table and
Make Dark Souls and die.
You got it mixed up. You died me. She has got like a little table and we're having a talk therapy session, and then when I can't really explain something, then I go to the table and I make a little piece of art, like glue some stuff together, I draw some shit with rant, and I show it to her, and she's like, hey, like, why did you do this? I mean, not like judgmentally, but she's like, I'm trying to understand, like, why did you write this word here or whatever? And we just like talk about it, and I feel like it's like a really pleasant modality. It's a nice way to interact with stuff in the world. And so I've been thinking about games a lot, and I'm like, how can I make games that better serve function for me? Like, so I'm making something, and I ask myself, why did I make this decision? Or I'm trying to make sense of something, and it helps to make like a little map for myself. And when I engage with other people's work, and this is where the Kill gameplay comes in. Is I'm like, I play people's games. I played so many people's games, and I want to understand them, the person. And there's all this fucking gameplay in the way. And I understand that to some degree the gameplay can be expressive, right? It can be like, oh, I'm taking, oh, I don't know, like this, the damage that you take from the enemies represents the pain that you feel when you hate gameplay. That's me. But I'm like, I don't need to die 100 times to be like, yeah, like it sucks. Capitalism sucks, for instance. I don't need all the gameplay. It's not that I'm against games, but there's this like weird little broken thing that feels like it's made to like convince other people to pay attention to the thing that you're doing, and I'm interested in how we can take that out of games, because I've been doing it for so long that I'd love to become an art therapist. I could go to school for it actually, which seems crazy. But I don't want to just throw out everything that I know about games just because I have this problem. But the problem is so big; it's so deeply rooted within games. And I'm like, can I remove like this? Like, can I dig under? Can I just remove like all like? Can I remove all the gameplay from the games? Okay, that's it. You were raising your hand with the red shirt, not you. No.
Just real quick, have you considered that you're just working in the wrong medium? Like, why
It's
don't you just
possible,
become a novelist?
but like it's too late. This may be to the point of those who say I'm in the wrong medium. Sorry, my mouth is very dry. Like I said, it's a really hard game, and I used to think of it as like this game with mechanics and stuff that just like happened to have some kind of bad poetry in it. Maybe it's fine. I don't know. That's not for me to judge. But I think like I started to think about it differently recently. I'm like, maybe it was like a kind of like exploring, like an interactive poetry anthology that just happened to have like way too much gameplay in it. Similar to Yume Miki, it just kind of like is a place where you can like go and do some stuff and exist and experience the inside of someone's mind at a point in time. But I mean, if you're looking for that, don't play Star City Clover. It's always much fun. But just as like a shape of like what I'm looking for, something like that. Okay.
To add to that, based on what you're describing, I could think of two games that come to mind. So the Jackbox game, droqen. Have you played that one?
Yeah.
Okay, so is that more in line with what you're thinking?
It's like I feel like there's two categories to me. There's like the game that is expressive, and then there's the game that is a tool that allows its players to be expressive. I'm more interested in the first category than the second, like in terms of developing, just because I want to, I'm here. I'm just yammering, and everyone's listening to me. It's great.
So that was, I had two things that came to mind. One was on more
over
people.
here. Okay.
The second one, I don't remember the exact name. I think it's called Before Your Eyes. It's a VR game. Well, you know what I was talking about.
The developer actually messaged me and said they were inspired by a game that I made. Which was super nice. Do you want to describe it though?
Yes, for those who don't know, it's a VR game where, essentially you're dead and you're seeing your life flash before your eyes, but every time you blink, it skips forward a few years or to a different memory in your life. So you have to try your best not to blink to try to experience that moment as long as you can before the next scene goes. So that seems like something up your alley a lot.
There's another game which no one on Steam likes called Rooftop Cop. I really, really like Rooftop Cop.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, no one's heard of it. And it's very weird. It felt like that maybe was my first like knife and kill gameplay. Rooftop Cop is really good. It describes itself as a series of 5 playable vignettes. You just you choose. It's got 5 of them. You choose one. You go into it. There's some music and you interact with it. And some of the vignettes are just kind of just like jokes. If you try to approach them like games, what are you doing, you idiot? This isn't a game. It's a playable vignette. I really like Rooftop Cop. Rooftop Cop. Rooftop Cop. Rooftop Cop.
Have you played Hard Boys?
No.
You're hard lads? Do you hit the lads with the chair?
Oh, is that by Robert Yang?
Yeah, Robert
I haven't
Yang.
played it. I haven't played it, but I think a lot of what Robert Yang does would fit into this category. In the government.
Yeah, this is well over 15 minutes.
Yeah, wrap it. Okay, great. Hello, I'm done. Thank you.
Yeah.